Hi, party people. This is Olori Lawadeshi on Baller Live from Brooklyn here for Black Genius with Esosa, Edosomwan. It's been a while. I hope that you guys have stayed up with the activities on Norpress's Instagram and Facebook page. If you're curious what we've been up to, there's some updates there. We published an article yesterday that I'm super, super proud of, super excited about on the role of Africa, brief history of artificial intelligence in Africa. And so this piece highlights a lot of the change makers and visionaries who are building a new Africa through artificial intelligence. And what's really exciting about it is that they're able to find such cheap solutions being created in the African context that can serve all of humanity. So please check out that article, northpress.org. It should be at the top of the feed. And Black Genius today with Esosa Edosomwan will be sharing this video in our newsletter. If you're not already on our newsletter, go to northpress.org and hit join our community. Let me tell you a little bit about Esosa. So when I first became aware of Esosa Edosomwan, she was a model. I was on a project once upon a time called Sold Afrique. And I saw a few models spread out. And Esosa was on, I remember, the photo shoot, you were on a ladder. She was on a ladder and it was just so graceful. And the person who was, in charge of this project would talk about how she'd never seen a model with locks, right? Locks are so rare in the beauty industry, especially at that time. We're talking about 2007. Now everyone's natural, but it wasn't as commonplace, 14 years ago. So Esosa is very much a trailblazer in all the ways. And at that time, she was a vegan. She would journal about or blog about, healthy living and vegan lifestyles. And I came to find out that she saw clients. And I am becoming one of her clients very, very soon. So I'm really excited to have her here. She's a Harambean. You've seen her on An African City. You've seen her in so many projects. I'm going to read her bio actually for you now, and then we'll bring her on. So the quick version, Esosa is an actor, writer, director, producer, and fashion designer. She's a powerhouse of ambition and drive, an Afro-Renaissance woman. This was written by the Weekend Argus magazine in Cape Town. She's also known as the Raw Girl. Esosa E, also known as the Raw Girl, is a dynamic certified nutrition specialist, behavioral coach, and published author with 10 years of experience inspiring others to live their best, healthiest lives, whose personal health crises and battle with acne and chronic fatigue led her to change her lifestyle. She began avid studies of holistic health. In 2018, she received her Master's of Science in Nutrition and Integrative Health after 10 years of informal study, writing, and coaching. Following the inner yearning to share her vegan lifestyle of 20 years, in 2009, Esosa created Raw Girl in a Toxic World, a health blog where her writing about a range of holistic health topics has been published online and reached hundreds of thousands of readers worldwide. She is the author of The Acne-Free Diet and Got Veg, How to Thrive on a Plant-Based Diet. Esosa also created her signature online program, Staying Ageless 30 Plus, which has a comprehensive curriculum designed to help women 30 plus achieve optimal health and stay youthful using diet and lifestyle changes. You've also seen her in Glamour, Elle, Ebony, Black Enterprise, for so many of the projects that she's worked on. So please give us, a hand, drum, whatever you got, as we welcome Esosa Edosomwan, the Black Genius. Hi, Esosa.
Hey, girl. Hey.
You're looking at me. She's like, I got to go in 5 minutes. Okay, so
I really
be quick.
I really.
All right,
really
so this is gonna be a preview with Esosa,
Okay.
and we'll get a little bit of your story, and then we'll bring you back as soon as possible. All right.
Okay. All right.
So where are you right now? You're still in DC?
I'm in Fairfax, Virginia. This is where I went to high school, and this is where my family, like my parents, live and stuff like that. They live in this town as well. They live in Fairfax Station.
How long have you been there? Because I know you lived in the city for a bit, so you must have gone back to Virginia.
Yeah,
Sometime in the last 10, 15
I get around. So I move around a lot. But I've been in the DC area for this is the longest I think I've been anywhere in a while for the past maybe 2, 3 years. Because this is where I also got my master's in nutrition, and this is where I started my practice. So, yep.
All right. So I wanted to kind of lay out, I read your bio, but I want you to share in your words what kind of work you do in terms of helping people along the healing journey. We've been talking about your programs that I'm very, very excited about. So I wanted you to just kind of paint a picture of what you do as a health coach, behavioral coach.
Right. So I'm a certified nutrition specialist. And what that means really is that I'm a nutritionist who can address serious chronic conditions from a holistic perspective. So I look at diet, lifestyle, supplementation, and then the behavioral coach aspect, which that was kind of given to me, and then I took it on. My first job at a wellness clinic that gave me that title, and so I started researching habit forming and how to inform people's behaviors. And then it took me down this whole rabbit hole into the subconscious mind and other stuff. But behavioral coaching is really the the job of helping people actually do the behaviors that they intend to do. Most people intend to eat really well and have a really balanced lifestyle and be healthy. And they sometimes even know what to do, but they can't make themselves do it because of things that are getting in their own way. And sometimes it's just learned behaviors and bad habits that need to be unlearned. Sometimes it's past trauma, sometimes it's subconscious things. But I basically am the person who's going to activate you into doing the things that you need to do.
Word. So let's talk a little bit more about that piece. Behavioral coaching. So I'm thinking about the pandemic and how many people went within in the last year and sort of started to learn a bit more about the mind and meditation and all these things. So I'm curious how you have seen that play out in your clients, how you've seen like the impacts of the pandemic on people's behavior and their need for coaching, their need for health support.
Yeah, I mean, I
Speak
think the
about that a bit.
pandemic highlighted multiple things. I think it highlighted the fact that most people really think that they understand immunity, but they don't. And so a lot of people were going around trying to get vitamin C and buying up all the supplements as if all of the behaviors you do every single day are not the sum total of your immunity, because they are. So it's really important. I think a lot of people had a wake up call because they realized, okay, now, because I haven't dealt with my diabetes or my hypertension or my weight problem or whatever the health problem is, now I'm more susceptible to getting this coronavirus, or you know what I mean? So it caused a kind of a wake up call where a lot of people were, not a lot, but there was a good number of people who really were like, let me get myself together. And I'm really glad that they did. Some people really did use the time wisely. Some people did not, unfortunately. But some people really did use the time wisely, and we had a lot of clients working with us to get themselves back together. And that's really, really important because you want to be in a position, especially in this day and age, to be prepared for anything that could come. We don't know what's coming next. Now they're saying there's new variants, etc. But at the end of the day, if you're in control of what you put in your mouth every single day and all of the habits that you do have a great deal of control over how easy a virus or external pathogen or whatever is going to affect you. So trying to get people to focus on those things is really important. There was another part of your question. What was the other part of your question?
I feel like you answered it. I really just wanted to get to, the uptick and the response to the pandemic as far as, the kind of clients you worked with.
Right. So the other thing that was happening, which I think the pandemic has shown us too, is that mental health is super important. Human connection is super important, and not just Zoom. Because there was all kinds of people with all had so many clients with extraordinarily levels of anxiety, depression, people not being able to see their loved ones, people overeating or over snacking because the food is just accessible and it's also a way to like calm yourself down. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of the Rona 15, but I had a few people talking about the Rona 15, My clients ain't getting no Rona 15, but I heard some people talk.
I definitely was a Rona member. I think I'm back to Rona 5, maybe. It fluctuates, but
Right.
continue.
So I think it also highlighted how important human connection, daily rituals to relieve stress are for our mental health and well-being as well. So if you didn't have those things in place, that was, it's a good time to get it in place as well.
So, how did you get interested in, natural health? What was the impetus for this journey? Because you also have a lot of other interests, acting, fashion design. What made you choose to embark on this journey?
Well, I didn't actually choose this journey. I was running from it for a while. And Jesus was like, sorry, this is what your calling is. Now I'm doing it. And life is good. No, I basically, I mean, I've been vegan since I was 13 years old. And that's strange to be Nigerian, a young 13-year-old Nigerian being like, I'm not eating meat. Everyone just looks at you crazy, or they just try and put oxtail in your face, like, girl, you sure? So you sure you don't want this
That's
oxtail?
hilarious.
So yeah, so I mean, I've been vegan since I was 13. I got to college, and my cousin at the time, I was having some health issues just because I was eating a bunch of junk food in college, and my cousin was a raw foodist. She introduced me to the idea of eating more raw fruits and vegetables. And it was her and this actress friend of hers in LA that I really respected. And they were both raw foodists. And that opened my eyes to that, but I didn't start doing that or anything. And then after college, I had kind of a health crisis when I was living in New York City in 2008 ish, 2007, 2008. And just a lot of acne, really tired, a lot was going on. And I remembered, I just felt like I was doing all this stuff externally to try and deal with my skin and other things, and it was not helping. So I threw out everything in my cabinet, like really dramatic, like a movie moment where you're just like, trash bag, throw in the Proactive, all the stuff. And then and then I signed up for this class, this raw food class with this black couple in Harlem, Lillian and Eddie Butler, really beautiful couple. And they taught how to prepare raw foods and all this stuff. So I started doing that, and I started like making Rejuvelac, which is like a fermented drink, and all this stuff. And within 1 month, my skin basically looked like it does now. And it went from like dark circles under my eyes, acne scarring all over my face, all kinds of stuff, to this. So it was pretty dramatic, but that was just the
So you're
beginning of
wearing
it because
any
I didn't.
foundation right
Huh?
You're not wearing any foundation right now?
I wear tinted moisturizer every day. It kind of like protects. It's like a protective layer of skin, and then I make cacao powder. That's my press powder. It's actually just literally cacao. I have cacao on my face right now. Um,
Oh,
yeah, so
your
I'm
face
very.
definitely available.
That's a whole other story because there's a whole thing with like, just realizing that your products matter, like what you put on your face matters. It should be almost as edible as the food that you eat or whatever. But basically, just going through my own healing journey, that was the first step. And then when I moved from New York City, I started my health blog, and I started writing um, 3 times a week for like years. And when I started writing and people really took to the writing, they started to feel like they knew me. So they started to send me letters about their health problems, like really detailed, very intense letters. And I was like, I'm so sorry, I can't help you. I am not a health professional. Please go see someone. Because I never took that lightly. I know there's a lot of people who do coaching. I'm not a health coach. I am a licensed nutritionist. Okay. There's a difference, and you should really pay attention to that difference because if someone has a license, obviously, if something goes wrong, they can be held accountable. Right. So I really didn't feel comfortable, saying that I could help them, but I also started to feel really bad turning people away. And this was all around my acting career. And so I just decided that, like, clearly I was obsessed with nutrition. I was always writing about it and talking about it. It's something that came so natural to me that I almost dismissed it. which I think some of us do. Like we don't realize that the thing that that we could do all day for hours and hours that's the thing. That's the thing you should be doing, child. And so when I finally realized I wanted to help people, but I knew I knew I didn't want to be a dietitian, and I knew I wanted to be someone who could deal with serious health conditions, but from a holistic perspective. And so when I found out about certified nutrition specialist, I was like, this is it, because it's looking at it from this whole perspective, diet, lifestyle, supplements, all that stuff. So I went back and got my master's, but my master's took me 5 years around my entertainment career. I mean, I was doing my master's while I was shooting in African City, and no one knew. No one knew. I didn't tell anyone because I was scared that I was never going to finish. So I had to keep kind of like dropping out and then going back to school. You know what I mean? Like I'm off this semester until finally they were like, child, if you don't graduate, you're gonna have a whole problem. And I was like, okay. Um, so it took me a while to do that. So I mean, yeah, so it's been about, I would say, I mean, this whole journey started maybe, at least intensely, started maybe in 2009. So it's been years and years of me nerding out on my own, nerding out in school, and now post school, I was fast tracked, very much so, to seeing thousands of clients. So now I've seen thousands of clients, literally with all kinds of problems, different health conditions, different ethnicities, races, et cetera. And I didn't realize that also the fact that I had traveled so much would be very useful because I understand people's diets. And so that really helps a lot because you really like, oh yeah, I know what kind of food you eat, because I've been there, or I know someone from there. So that's the abridged version.
Wow. So how did you get started after school? How did you just, go through the steps to set up your business and, escalate to 1,000 clients so quickly? Thousands of clients.
Literally Jesus. I mean, I got a job. I graduated and the good Lord got me a job in 2 days. I had a job in 2 days at a wellness clinic. And that wellness clinic, I saw 300 patients a month. I got all of my hours to become a certified nutrition specialist within 3 months. And then 6 months in, I had started developing. I started to notice the patterns that were helping me with people's body types and stuff. That was helping me help people lose weight really easily. I noticed that a lot of women didn't know their body type, and I really understood my own. And I had these tools I was using from Ayurveda and different places to help me understand how I should be eating for my body and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, I could teach this to people, and also I can use this. It'll help me like deal with a lot of different types of people and help them very quickly because it gives me the tools to do so. So I launched Staying Ageless 30 Plus while I was still at that wellness clinic, and I got so many clients that I had to quit my job. So it was just one of those like, okay, now I guess I'm working on my own. And then yeah, that's really just what happened. So it's been a very, very interesting, intense journey. But I think all of the early hours of just nerding out and being into supplements and health and whatever have now like made sense because there's so much at my disposal, just from all the time that I spent as a hobby. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what sets me apart from a lot of people because I really have put in more than 10,000 hours, honestly.
Wow. We have 2 minutes. So I have questions about, how you guys actually, because when you go to the doctor, everyone expects that they have their own, unique medical database, even though half of the time they're on Google.
Right.
So I want to know more about like the back end of being a certified nutrition specialist, and how people can, learn from you, how people can get coached by you, and do whatever the program is that you're intending to do, with wellness on the continent. What are the opportunities to train with you? So these are things that we
Right.
can talk about too.
So when you
Is there
mean
anything
back
about
end, you mean what is the information that's going into it, or what do you mean?
I guess I'm envisioning that you guys, so when you were at the wellness clinic, for instance, and you were seeing all these clients, I
Hmm.
imagine that there were conditions that came up for you that yes, you might have come across in your master's program, but then there might have been others that would have come up, you know, just from your own Googling, right? Your own independent nerding out. And so I'm curious about that actual process of finding out, putting in the symptoms that someone has or whatever, and finding out like what is probably going on with them.
Right. Yes. So basically what happened post school, which was really interesting, I didn't allow myself, people were trying to ask me to like go do talks and hang out, and I was like, no, sorry. I literally waited until I felt like the spirit was like, you're allowed now. I spent a good year or so just seeing clients in my reading so many books, and I had to, it was like that wellness clinic was insane. It was like people came in with like diabetes and schizophrenia or just stuff I'd never even heard of, like hyponatremia. I didn't know you drink too much water. And then I was like, okay, you could drink too much water. I have a client who drank too much water. She went to the hospital. Do you know what I mean? So it was so interesting because it's like, there's book knowledge and then there's a person actually sitting in front of you that now you have to deal with. And so it was, that period of time was super important because it was trial by fire. It was a lot of people. And it was like, okay, I need to like, you take all this book knowledge, but I need to integrate it now into all of these people and also research all these things. So that became the foundation. It was kind of like the place where all of the things started to get put together. I still feel like I need to look certain things up sometimes or research things. I'm very big on research. I research everything. And the other thing is that is really tricky from my perspective is uh, we've had success with people that the medical community technically says can't get well. And the reason why is because I'm that crazy person who's like, oh, they said that you have what? Okay, no problem. Let's just figure that out. You know what I mean? Like I'm open to like, okay, the good Lord might be able to heal that too. You know what I mean? Why does there need to be a limit? And so I spend a lot of time actually researching individual people, like literally lay people who had a condition who healed themselves. Why? Because most of the times they know to heal it better than doctors. And they have gone to doctors and they've never gotten any answers. And this sometimes is where I find the best answers to deal with my patients. So I have clients. I had my first endometriosis client no longer has symptoms of endometriosis. That's apparently considered not possible, but it is. We have women whose fibroids shrink, and then it's like we get other really intense conditions that come through my office, like HPV and, herpes and all this stuff. So we're just really open to, it is possible if you give the body the right fuel, if you give the body, mind, and spirit the right environment. I do believe that healing can occur. And I'm that person who tries to hold the space for people. It's kind of like they have to match my level of intensity. But if they do, miracles can really actually happen.
Wow. Okay. So, what is next for you? How can people engage with you? How can people learn more about your programs and your offerings?
Yeah. So our website for Raw Girl Coaching is therawgirl.com. And that is where we do individual one-on-one consultations and packages. We also have memberships now, which are really dope, where basically we can create a treatment plan for you where you can see a therapist, you can see a certified nutrition specialist, you can see a naturopathic doctor if you need, and we can tailor the plan as needed to whatever your condition is. And then we have ongoing programs. So if you go to the website and you go to classes, it'll take you to stayingagelessuniversity.com. And stayingagelessuniversity.com has our my longevity program, Staying Ageless 30 Plus. That's the one I've been doing for a really long time. That we've had people reverse hypertension, reverse diabetes, get off 3-4 medications, lose 30 pounds, all kinds of stuff. That one's coming back September 19th. So that one's going to be back in full effect. We only do it twice a year. So get in when you fit in. Okay. And then the other one is Raw Girls Hormone Balancing Academy. And that one is very near and dear to my heart because we have a lot of clients struggling with endometriosis, PCOS, fibroids, all of the hormonal balance issues. And so that is a 6-month program where we basically help women deal with it holistically, especially if they're interested in not doing invasive surgeries. Sometimes we have people who've done invasive surgeries, and because nobody helped them reset their diet and lifestyle, they've grown back fibroids and other issues. So we help them at whatever point they're at. But definitely holla at your girl. I'm at the raw girl on all the social platforms. And yeah, that's where you can find it.
Wow. Well, it has been such a pleasure. Just kudos on all the amazing work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to share my next round of questions next time because we got to get into the Nigerian parents and
Yes. I feel like that's a whole
that's a whole hour. That's a whole
that's
therapy
a
session.
whole hour. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, thank you guys for watching. If you want to see other Black Genius episodes, go to our homepage on YouTube or norpets.org. Follow us on all the platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And we look forward to seeing you on the next Black Genius.